Movie Misfits Network.
Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match. Are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Everybody, welcome. Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
There they go. Where'd I go?
Want to play a game?
I'm still...
Do you want to play a game?
Yeah, right. Okay.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know what happened there. Pretty much. Yeah, what a way to start, right? Go to the first cinematic smack. You guys don't know what this is. It's a new show we're gonna do. Probably once a month or so we'll do one of these. Yeah, we're gonna break 3 movies down by category, 8 different categories, and we're gonna one gets the first the most wins. And just so you guys can see, this is how I'm keeping score. I got a little score here that we will add points to as we go. As you can see, all 8 of the categories. We got story, characters, acting, music, cinematography, special effects, villain, and protagonist. So. Yeah, and I will add to that as we go. That's how we'll keep score. How are you guys doing?
Good, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Just good.
Just good. And now, Brett, we just saw you over here last night, but we have a new face on the channel down here. Who are you?
Hello, I'm Mel from My Killer Podcast. Thank you so much for having me on, Chris. This is going to be fun. I don't want to give anything away, but The Lost Boys is one of my all-time favorite movies, so this will be interesting to see who wins the SmackDown.
Yeah, and I'll say this: Near Dark and Fright Night are tied for like my favorite vampire.
Oh,
and guys, you think it's gonna be easy? Your Fright Night. All right,
yeah,
so yeah, like you think it's gonna be easy, right? And then you go and you break them down, and it's becomes tough for some of the categories. So I'll see who's gonna win tonight. But okay, let's get started. Let's get started right with the story. So we'll just start with you, Brett. Which one? Why does it keep doing this? Has the best story?
Okay, best story. I'll be honest with you. This is the one that I actually had the most difficult time with. Everything else is actually a pretty easy category, but the story, I'll be honest with you. I think it's a 3-way tie. They all kind of tell the same story. Person turns vampire, group of vampires, and then all hell breaks loose at the end. Like that's pretty much just like a copied formula. But I guess like for like kind of like a character, like if there is some kind of story to it. I'm probably with my gut. I'm going to go with, God, this is so difficult.
Make the right choice.
Okay. Again, this is so difficult because, again, they kind of tell the same story. But if I'm going to have to go one with, like, what's a better story, in my opinion, I think I'm going to go with The Lost Boys.
Oh.
Lost Boys. Okay, so we got one for Lost Boys there. Oh, and I do want to mention this, that while I do have my choices already picked out, I reserve the right to change them at any time as we go.
Same
like if one of you guys convinces me the other way, I have the right to go and change my answer. So yeah, and you guys are free to do that too. Yeah. So all right, so one for Lost Boys, you said, Brett? Okay,
yes.
There we go. All right. What about you, Mel? Which has the best story for you?
So I kind of agree with Bretman. They're all kind of coming of age stories in a way, and then they just kind of spin it a little differently as the movies go on. I'm going to say that Fright Night for me is not going to win this one because I feel like that story just it's the simplest. It's kind of,
Too
you know,
generic.
it's very
Mhm.
generic. So it comes down to The Lost Boys and Near Dark. And The Lost Boys is interesting because it's a family. They move to this new area and then they just kind of stumble upon these vampires, but it's immediately they're gonna, try and kill them and save the day. It's like, oh, they're kind of in with them for a little bit, and then later they find out that that's not the way they want to go. But Near Dark, on the other hand, is like a group of vampires that are traveling around in like this car, and they're trying to survive. In story wise, I feel like that's such an interesting take on vampires, the Near Dark
Yeah.
scenario, just because like it's different than everything else. Like normally the vampires are already kind of honed in on where they live and how they're surviving, and Near Dark hasn't figured it out yet. So I'm going to go with Near Dark just because I feel like that
Okay.
story it's just a little different take on the vampire genre.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also gonna agree with you, Mal. I'm gonna say Near Dark as well. Because like you said, it's a lot of the same stuff, all the vampire tropes, but they do it in a way to make it different enough to where it's like, okay, it's a nice little spin on it, nice little twist on it. So for story, I'm also gonna go Near Dark. I love the story for Lost Boys. I really like the story for Fright Night too, with how generic it is and stuff like that. Like I said, there's so many horror movies with something's wrong with the neighbor, the neighbor's up to something. So, and to have the vampire spin on that, I quite enjoy that a lot too. So,
It's
but I am
most
gonna
realistic though, right?
yeah,
Like,
but
how
yeah,
you
so
start
I'm gonna
questioning
stick
your
with Near
neighbor.
right. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Near Dark. So that's 1 point apiece. All right. So, oh wait, no, it's 2 for Near Dark, and then
Yeah.
1 for Lost Boys. Never mind. All right. All right. So characters. Brett, who do you got for the characters? I think this
All
one's
right.
an easy one.
I think this is an easy one too. I think it's the easiest one. I just circled it immediately. It has to be the Lost Boys again. Just because
I didn't think you'd feel that way.
Oh yeah, I thought so, but I'm just telling you. I guess it's meltdown here. Like I've been loving the Lost Boys like ever since we did that watch party last year. Like I just telling you, it's Lost Boys every time. If I go put
I
on a
live and
vampire
breathe it.
movie, it's the Lost Boys. If I need a saxophone motivation, I play
Oh,
the.
God.
Look at this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I did yeah, I get it. I had to wear my
So-
shirt.
But like the characters are fine in the Ever movies. Like if I'm gonna have to do a second place, it's for Near Dark with the characters like the more serious tone. So there's more of a characters to them, and like you're interested in them, especially Bill Paxton. Like, come on,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
MVP of the movie.
All time.
Fright Night recently on recent watch, I just kind of like got it's too goofy at times. I'm like, and plus the main character in Fright Night is a horrible boyfriend. Like I don't.
He is. He is.
I'm just sitting here like, why am I single while this person has
He
pretty much
has
the
a
most
beautiful
perfect-
girlfriend.
beautiful girl, and like you know what? I'm going to keep it peaceful here. So for characters, I'm going with the Lost Boys because they're so memorable. They're so much fun, and like, how can you not like? I don't think there's one bad character in the Lost Boys.
Okay.
Well,
Mel, I'm gonna guess you're going with Lost Boys as well.
okay, so I'm really trying not to be biased here, but
Don't
I'm
try
going to agree
too
with
hard.
Brett Man because that every single character in The Lost Boys is just so cool, so spot on, so believable. I mean, you got the Coreys, you got Jason Patrick, you got Kiefer Sutherland. Like you can't. I mean, there's just so many different
Edward
actors in that
Herman.
movie.
Yeah.
Just playing the coolest characters of their lives. And I will give Near Dark a little nudge just because Bill Paxton he's all time. I mean,
Yeah.
he is just all time, especially a
R.I.P.
young Bill Paxton doing his thing.
Mhm.
Brett, man, I'm glad you didn't say Fright Night just because upon rewatch for me when the 4K came out, I was so annoyed with those characters. Not only the
Bad.
main character being a bad boyfriend, but his friend was just like
Ed. Oh my god, I couldn't stand him this
I
time
know.
around.
I'm like, I can't with him. So Lost Boys all the way.
You know what? I'm gonna go the Lost Boys as well in terms of like as a whole. But there are some characters in Fright Night in particular that I love. I like Ed. I know. I enjoy. I think he's entertaining. Jerry is like, look, I'm a straight man, but that nightclub scene gets me going. You know what I mean? So like,
Same.
like it's great. I do love the characters in Fright Night, but just as an ensemble cast and all the different personalities that you have in that movie, I think it's a clear no contest answer on this one. I'm going to go the Lost Boys as well.
Everything just works.
It does. Let me address a couple of these chats real quick, and then we'll move on to the next one here. I see Gory Russell, Brother Fluff. He says, Florida, so every neighbor is really so there's that. Duda Loves Movies says, I haven't seen Near Dark in years, so I have to give it to the Lost Boys. Shout out to the Lost Girl, Kayla Mel. Yes!
Hey, dude!
She's here.
Woo!
And you know what? That's actually a great movie idea. We had the Lost Boys, now we need the Lost Girls.
Yep. 100%.
There we go.
If you're going to do a remake
I'm
of it, do it that way.
Right? I vote One Spittin'. That would be a great one. Like One Spittin', Vampire's Kiss, and then like something else, another good one. All right. Bill Paxton is the only one who got killed by a Terminator, an alien, and a Predator. That's true.
And now by a human.
Yep, that's right.
See?
Okay.
He's amazing.
So we did the story, we did the characters, but characters and acting are two different things. You know, you could have fun characters but bad acting. You could have, you know, it could go either way. So acting, let's take a look at just the performance level of across all three of these movies. Which movie overall do you think has the best performances out of the three? Brett, man.
Okay, I can tell you which one definitely does not, and that's Fright Night. My God. I felt like I can act better at times than a lot of those characters, except for Jerry. Jerry was the only really great
I've
performance.
seen your acting.
Oh my God, it's not good. It is not good.
I love it.
But you know, like I'm so bad it's good. That's the best way to describe my acting. So bad it's good. But I'll tell you what is good though. It's Near Dark. Just because you have like much of a stronger cast in that movie, in my opinion. While I felt like the Lost Boys kind of like it's like more newer, so I think like they were just like getting their toes wet, like in the acting world and all that, and trying to get better as the years progress. But man, how are you going to compete with Les Hendrickson and Bill Paxton? Like you really honestly can't. That's why I'm giving the advantage to Near Dark again. And to my surprise, man, I love Fright Night, but I haven't given Fright Night much so far.
Oh.
Isn't that funny how you have like a favorite movie, but then when you
talk shit about it,
when you're forced to break it down, you're like,
know, right?
This movie sucks. Again, I'm gonna have to agree with Brett. Man, I'm gonna go Near Dark on this one. Bill Paxton just slayed his performance in that one, amongst other people in that movie as well. Lost Boys, a very close second, just because some of the performances. I mean, come on, Tim Capello. His performance was all time, right? He's literally known for his 10-second performance in that movie. But I'm gonna give it Near Dark.
Yeah, I think this one was fairly easy in terms of performance level. It's Near Dark. I mean, I love the cast of the Lost Boys. I like, Chris Sarandon and Fright Night and stuff like that. But Near Dark has the advantage of having two heavy hitters with Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen, and they are giving these roles their all. Like, they're just having so much fun playing these characters, and they really make the movie, honestly. If those would have been two other actors in those places, I don't know if this movie would have worked as well as it does. I don't know if it would have had the same effect. So for me, in terms of performance, I also go Near Dark.
Yeah, plus every group of vampires needs a charisma one, and Bill Paxton knocked it out of the park with the charisma.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. Next, we're going to go into the music. For me, this one was a landslide. It wasn't even a question of the other two. The music, now, when we talk about music, that could mean score or actual soundtrack or both. However you want to look at the music section, that's on you. So just music in general, Brett, man. Who's got it?
Okay, let's go ahead and kind of flip the question and tell us a reason why it's not the Lost Boys.
Thank you.
I said why it is not meaning it has to be the Lost Boys.
Like, yeah.
Like this is not. I know my grammar's awful. Like that's.
I was like, wait a minute.
That was perfect. There is absolutely no reason why it's not the Lost Boys.
Yeah,
it's like the Lost Boys is here. And here's Fright Night and Near Dark. Okay, I was about to say Near Dark's like right here, but come on, it's the Lost Boys. Like just the saxophone alone is enough to give this movie better than anything else. Yeah. But I also feel like just the choice of songs they do in the Lost Boys is just, and again, it's just I think Mel might say here, but it best represents the 80s.
Absolutely. And it best represents the movie too, because like Cry Little Sister, like all of them, all of the songs and the specific moments in the movie when these songs play, it wraps you up in what's going on. And then there's like almost a MTV music video moment in the movie where it's like Jason Patrick is about to get down, and then Cry Little Sister plays. And then they do that like pan shot to the clouds and then rolling it. It's almost like this MTV music video type situation. It's so cool, but I'm giving it to the Lost Boys clearly as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not even a contest. It's the Lost Boys in terms of just the actual soundtrack. I can't listen to People Are Strange or Cry Little Sister without immediately thinking,
oh my god, People Are Strange when they're panning through the amusement park and they're hitting on certain people and stuff. It's so perfect.
Like I can't hear that song without that scene immediately popping into my head. Near Dark, what did you have? Travis Tritt, was that who was playing in the bar? Like that's not my kind of music. I'm not really, that didn't really do much for me. It's a cool scene, I just didn't like the music. And then Fright Night, like it's not. There's no reason why it's not the Lost Boys, as Brett was saying. So yeah, across the board, all three of us Lost Boys. So there we go.
Well, and it's a testament to when you hear like the covers of songs in a movie for the soundtrack, and then you prefer the cover to the actual song. Like People Are Strange was originally sung by the Doors, so like I prefer the cover on the Lost Boys soundtrack to the actual song. That's a testament of how good of a job they did.
I completely agree with that. Okay, so now that music out of the way, cinematography, the way the movie looks and feels, and just the tone of just like visually, cinematography. Brett, man, who's taking this one?
See, I thought I was going to go with the Lost Boys on this one, but again, I'm going to give the advantage to Near Dark on this one, just because it feels the most different. Kind of like I think, I forgot who was explaining earlier about how Near Dark is just different compared to your typical vampire movie. They're out west, so they had a new setting and a new kind of like atmosphere to play off of. And the cinematography shots, like with how like it pretty much is Near Dark, like with how like dark the movie feels, and you kind of feel it. You feel like the Texas heat into it. So I definitely go with Near Dark on this one.
All right, Mel.
That's interesting. You're making me think about this a little more now. Because I was gonna go with the Lost Boys because they had the aesthetic of the cinematography in the Lost Boys was just so cool. You guys are going to hear me say that so much,
like the boardwalk and stuff like
the
those
boardwalk. But it also hits so many different set pieces too. So one, you're on the boardwalk. Two, like they literally have to climb through a cave, and then you're getting shots like as they're on the ground looking up at the vampires hanging from their feet. But then you also get these like lights, like in the grandpa's studio where he has all of the taxidermied animals. It's like this red light that's, and then all their faces are red. So I'm leaning towards the Lost Boys specifically for that. But Brettman, you're right. Near Dark did have a different kind of atmosphere, just with the car in the desert with the sun, and like they had to paint the windows and all the things. But I'm going to go with Lost Boys. I'm going to stick to my original You almost
Stick
swayed
to
me
your
there.
guns.
I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna go with the Lost Boys.
Okay, so one for Near Dark and one for Lost Boys, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna go Near Dark as well. Again, as Brett was talking about, you feel that heat. You can almost feel yourself sweating just watching the movie. I like that Near Dark is more like a vampire western. Like that's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
feels
true.
like a old style classic western just with vampires in it, and that to me stands out among the other two films. As much as I love the setting in Lost Boys, Fright Night really doesn't have much in terms of the cinematography. There's really
It's pretty
not much.
standard, it seems.
Yeah,
like.
pretty cut and dry there. But to me, Near Dark was the most unique of the bunch here. So yeah, I gotta go for cinematography, Near Dark.
Now that you say it's like a vampire.
You want to change your answer?
So,
I can change it.
I'm so torn right now because I'm like, you're so right. It is kind
Come
of like
on.
a vampire western.
Search your feelings. You
I
know
know.
them
I'm
to
like,
be
what
true.
do I do? I'm sticking with the last one. I'm sticking with the last one.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a couple more chats real quick. Dude Who Loves Movies says there was going to be a sequel in the 90s called The Lost Girls starring Drew Barrymore. I did not know that.
God,
I
that would have been
I
so
remember
cool.
like a smidge about that maybe.
Interesting. Flatbuster, what's going on, guys? This is tough. They're all so different. Near Dark being a Western, Fright Night doing Hitchcock, and Lost Boys being a comic book origin tale. Love all three. Really tough. That's a great point. They all, yeah.
You nailed it, Flopbuster. Like literally every
Absolutely.
movie just nailed it.
And I know what the chat is thinking. Why in Near Dark are the hell the freaking vampires who are so afraid of the light are out in the middle of nowhere in the middle state?
You know what?
There's no tall buildings. There's no clouds.
There's nowhere to
nothing.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Great
if you're screwed,
point.
you're screwed.
That's actually a really good point. Should we question the storyline again?
I don't know. Like, if I have to go, I pick Lost Boys, so I think I'm solid there. But
Miss Carter says, judging by the polls so far, looks like my favorite Near Dark is. Yes, I put a poll in the chat, guys, so you guys can tell us which one's your favorite. I have not looked at the results of that. I'm not looking at that until the end of this.
We'll see if the chat agrees, right?
Yeah. And Flabba says, I think Fright Night honestly might have my favorite cinematography out of three. That's fair. I just thought, again, compared to the other two, it was the most like generic in terms of, I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does make sense because it didn't seem like they broke out of the box.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of great shots in Fright Night that I love. No,
oh yeah.
But in terms of just as a whole, yeah. All right, so special effects. This is a big one because, I've seen a lot of really cool looking vampires. I've seen a lot of really ugly and not on purpose vampires. So
I love that you say not on purpose.
I get it.
I love it. I love it.
So special effects. This is an important one. I feel like, Brett. I'm curious, man. Which way are you going to sway in the special effects department?
Well, I'll tell you which one's not going to do it, and that's Near Dark, just because the CGI fire does not do anybody any favors in this. But I thought about the Lost Boys, they was going to win this, but again, last minute, the third act of this movie, I'm going to give it the winner to. I'm finally going to talk nice about Fright Night on this, so I'm going to give it to Fright Night. Finally.
You go, Bratman.
Yeah, finally give it a Fright Night because of the practical effect of the demon Ed with the cross on there.
Evil Ed, yeah.
Just the makeup effect, the transformation of like the wolf pyre. I guess that's what he turned into, a wolf pyre. Like I had no idea what he was turning into.
Yeah, something.
And then just all the practical effects stuff at the end of it, like with the bat and the green flames and the blood and all that. I was like, okay, this looks awesome. Like great job by the practical effect team. But Lost Boys is a close second.
Mm-hmm. Well,
finally.
All right, I'm going to do something I never do, and that's talk nice about Fright Night.
Yay! We're pretty much, me and Mel are like the same human beings.
I know, but I mean, you're speaking truths over there. So I mean, I love the Lost Boys, and the vampires look cool. I'm gonna say cool again. And there was the one scene on the beach at night where they take Michael to go down there and they're trying to convince him to feed for the first time. And there's that scene where the vampire's like holding that dude and he bites his head. I mean, that's all time like cool, but that is also the only like gory thing that happens in that entire movie. But Fright Night, on the other hand, as soon as you get into that third act of that movie, shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And everything happens. And just the way that they created those vampires with the mouth and the teeth, and it's not your typical vampire anymore. And like Brett Man said, it's almost like a mix of vampire and werewolf, where they take that werewolf mouth and they put it on a vampire, and it's creepy, it's effective. Does it look silly at times, the practical effects? But that's the charm of the practical effects, is because they're trying to make it look real, you know? And it's way better that way than any digital effect that actually does make it real, to me personally. So I'm giving it to Fright Night for the practical effects.
Again, this was another one that was fairly easy for me. It's Fright Night, because in terms of cinematography, Near Dark was the most unique and stuck out the most. For special effects, Fright Night takes that title, because like I said, Near Dark, there, you know, it looked a little bit goofy at times. You know, there wasn't much to like the Lost Boys. They look cool because they were supposed to be like the cool kids in town, right? So they had that very like cool, I'm cool in the 80s, wearing leather and all this stuff like that. You know, that looked cool, but in terms of the actual practical effects, Fright Night takes that to a whole nother level. They do some really crazy stuff with it, and I'm so glad they took it as far as they did, because there's that, you were talking about the open mouth with the teeth and stuff like that. That poster shot is one that I will always remember.
Oh, I have it right here.
Yeah, seeing in the video. Yep, that one right there. That always stuck out to me. I always saw it in the video store. I always kind of walked past it, kind of hesitant to pick that one up, until eventually I did. And yeah, there's like so much great stuff that comes out of the special effects in Fright Night that just, it stands out to me more than anything in Lost Boys and anything in Near Dark. So I also go Fright Night. So all right, Fright Night's kind of getting there a little bit. It's getting some points now.
Gorilla story.
Yeah, right. Flatbuster says Lost Boys score though. Joel was that perfect. Oh yeah, for sure. And then he also said Fright Night all the way. The last act goes Buck Wild Monster Mash. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Ashton says The Lost Boys is my favorite vampire movie. It's a lot of people's favorite vampire movie.
Mine too.
Yep. All right, so we're down to 2 more categories, guys, and that's it. We're done. We can wrap this up. I know. So these two, I know. Villain. A movie, especially a horror movie, is only as good as its villain, right? The threat, the thing that we are supposed to be afraid of. Yeah, in Fright Night, you know, yeah, Jerry, and then the Near Dark, the Lost Boys, all that stuff. Brett, who's your favorite, or what you think is the best villain?
The best villain. For me, let's go back to Fright Night. I'm going to go with Jerry, because yeah, so because of the fact that like he's the next door neighbor to our protagonist's house, so just your like sense of security is completely gone, especially when the mother allowed Jerry to come in and he can visit anytime he wants now, so that's always bad. And then it's just the way he does everything. He's just so calculated with everything that he does, playing mind games with our protagonist too. And the other thing too is just what's scary about all this. When you talk about how a villain becomes scary, for the protagonist, nobody believes you. I feel like in the other movies, they kind of believe him. It takes a little bit quicker for the other movies to believe the protagonist, but this one in Fright Night took a little bit longer in order for the characters to start believing. And Jerry plays that to his advantage too, and just what he does like at the end and everything. So I'm giving this to Fright Night and Jerry.
Okay. Well,
That's
See,
interesting.
Garrett agrees. My man Garrett, he agrees.
There you go.
Oh, what? Okay, don't listen. Okay, so I will agree with you on the points of he messed around with our main guy. He was playing mind games. He was doing all of that. My problem with Fright Night is if Jerry really just wanted to get that girl and make her his own, why the shenanigans? Like he could have gone over to the neighbor's house and just slayed them.
Oh yeah.
Like
mind games.
Slayed them. He played these mind games to his own demise. Okay. So I'm going to talk about Lost Boys for a second. So you would think in the Lost Boys that David is our villain, right? So you think
Is he though?
You think throughout the entire movie that David is our villain, but then you don't find out until the very end that Max was pulling all the strings. So that's actually kind of cool that we spent the entire movie trying to figure out who our villain was, or we thought it was one person, then we get this excellent twist in the end. I'm going to go with the Lost Boys just because of the storytelling of how we got to our villain in the end. Do I think he's necessarily the strongest villain? Because, I mean, he was literally killed in like 30 seconds after his unveiling. Maybe not, but he was the slyest of them all. By weaseling his way in with the moms, you know.
That is a really good point. Yeah, look, I love Jerry in Friday Night. As I said earlier, as a straight man, even this guy can convince me, like, okay, yeah, I'll go home with you. But so, like, I love Jerry. Like I said, I love the mind games that you were talking about. He could have easily went over there and slaughtered them like that, and he didn't. He likes the chase. He gets off on it. And you know that's really interesting, especially for like a vampire. There's always some sexual undertones in these vampire movies anyway. So that was that for Fright Night. And then you have the whole David or Grandpa Gilmore, whatever you want to call him, Max. Max. I know him more from Gilmore Girls because I kind of grew up watching that show. Anyway. So yeah, you have those two in Lost Boys. They're fine. I don't have any issues with them. I don't dislike them. But like I said, you have Bill Paxton as Severin in Near Dark, and he's the main one I'm going to talk about. Lance Henriksen too, and all the whole group really. But you know, because the group really feels like this biker gang that's stuck in the Old West. Like that's what it feels like. So really, that whole group are villains. But Bill Paxton as Severin, he just steals every second he's on screen. Because to be quite honest with you, I'm going to talk about this in a minute. I'm not a fan of the love story in Near Dark. I don't think it works. It doesn't work for me. What makes Near Dark so much fun is Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen and all them. And he's the most fun. He's the most memorable for me. So I'm going to go Severin, Bill Paxton, and Near Dark.
He is a wild man, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's so close. It is
so licking good.
You're licking. Yeah, that's a great line too.
Yeah, man.
All right, so let's talk about everybody's favorite protagonist, Charlie Brewster. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Charlie.
Yeah, the best protagonist, right? So we talked about the villains. Now, who's the best good guy or good girl or whatever? Yeah, Brett.
Okay, it's kind of like the same thing with the music. Why is it not the Lost Boys?
Yeah.
Like, definitely it's the Lost Boys. I know it has the advantage of having multiple good guys in this movie, but once again, like with characters and all that, you can't help but love them. They are so charismatic. They all have like a great, like, what's the word I'm thinking of when two people?
Chemistry.
Chemistry. Yeah, amazing chemistry on set and really bringing the characters to life. And these are characters that you actually really want to support, unlike freaking Charlie from freaking Fright Night, who is just
you're so cool, Brewster.
Oh my!
You wanted me this.
Cool, Brewster.
You wanted me this whole time, and all of a sudden you don't want me anymore. Like, shut up! Like, What? Like, this is not a protagonist that I don't want to support. If any other one, it's just
This
like,
is your favorite movie, Brett, man.
Actually, I don't think it's my favorite movie anymore. It's my second favorite vampire movie. But I'll just say this: Lost Boys, those characters, those protagonists are so much fun. You just really like cheer for them from beginning to end. So that's why I'm going with the Lost Boys.
Okay. I mean, Mel, I think I know your answer on this one, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I love his turnaround from beginning of video to end of video. I love it.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
I hate
Fright Night's my favorite movie.
And he's like, it's not my favorite anymore. It's like my second.
It's my second.
I love
favorite
you, Brett.
vampire.
I love you. But I agree. When it comes to Fright Night, there's not many people in that movie that you really want to win. The two main characters just they suck. They're terrible. You want them to fail, and then when Jerry doesn't win at the end, it's almost a bummer.
Yeah.
You're almost rooting for the bad guy in the end of that one. But
it's a charm. It's his charm. That's
it
like,
is.
damn it,
It really is. But the Lost Boys, yeah, the characters are just so charismatic. Like they're instant like crew in the movie. Like they instantly bond and they trust each other and they want to save each other, and they work so hard to like make sure everyone gets out alive. And you got Sam and the Frog Brothers. Like Michael's great, but I mean Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, it's hard to beat the chemistry of those two in any movie. So I'm gonna go on the Lost Boys, of course.
Okay.
Sam's so sweet in that movie. You just want him to win.
Especially his bubble bath scene. It's like, God, I used to be that kid in the bubble bath.
Right? Azel, and he's singing and he's like, like, did you ever do the hair thing where you made a mohawk with the soap?
Who did not do that?
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Real quickly, the hidden lost hero of the Lost Boys, I gotta give shout out to. It's my dog. The dog in the movie with the amazing drop kick on the vampire into the bathtub of the holy water. I've never seen a more beautiful drop kick in my entire life.
Hell yeah. Nina killed it in that movie. Literally.
Yeah. I'm surprisingly going to go the Lost Boys on this as well. I was not expecting to go. I was actually I came in prepared to say Charlie Brewster. I honestly did. But then, like I said, like, no, only because I'm like, well, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I like Ed more than Charlie. I like Jerry more than Charlie. I don't think my pick's Charlie. So
terrible to his girlfriend, terrible to his best friend.
He is.
I know it's all that. At times, putting all that pressure on Peter. But
and like I don't like our lead in Near. Like I said, I don't like that story. I don't really like him as a character. There's not much that I like about him. So Sam, Michael, the Frog Brothers. I'm not the biggest Michael fan, I'll be honest with you. Michael kind of annoys me. But Sam, he reminds me a lot of me at that age in terms of like, I kind of read comics, but I didn't read the scary comics for a little bit. I kind of grew up a little bit, and then I started reading the scary one. And the Frog Brothers are so cool. It's Sam and the Frog Brothers, and even Michael I'll throw in as well. But so the Lost Boys for me.
And what's awesome, real quick story, because you said Corey Feldman, I meant to say this, but Corey Feldman, the reason he had the bandana on is because during the time that he was watching a lot of action movies, I think someone dared him, like, say, hey, just wear the headband the entire time, like you're in an action movie. I'm like, okay. And he
really? That's how that happened?
I heard, it was something around those lines that he was watching a lot of action movies at that time, and he thought a bandana. That's why he wore the bandana a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know that. All right. Cool. So we got, going back to the last one, Fright Night on Villain. Catherine Bigelow didn't miss. Near Dark and Blue Steel are great. Also, Jerry is king. I don't disagree with any of that. Okay. Miss Carter says, I have to admit the Frog Brothers and Grandpa are actually pretty... Grandpa, oh my God.
That was awesome.
Like, they ask him point blank, like, were people murdered here when they first get there? He's like, let's just say that, if you dug all the bodies up, we'd have a bigger population or something like that. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, oh yeah, we got a real vampire problem in this town. It's Like, no shit. But yeah, I like Grandpa.
I
Plus,
love Grandpa because he like has lived through all of this
Yeah.
stuff, and he literally does nothing in the movie.
Right.
But
Like,
be a
that's my
cute
TV
grandpa.
guide. If you rip it here, that rips the whole cover, and we don't want. Do you even have a TV? No, but I have a TV guide.
If you have a TV guide, you don't need a TV.
And of course, we all are part of Grandpa too. We all have to. This is definitely true in dorm rooms, like in college era. Like we all have that one shelf in the refrigerator that belongs to you, and nobody touches it. One of his is root beer. I'm like, Grandpa, my man, dude. Like he knows how to have a good time.
100%.
You guys should check out the Lost Boys graphic novel sequel. Sorry for all the comments. Oh no, I love all the comments. I love all three of these. It's really tough. Lost Boys graphic novel sequel. I have not read that. Have you guys read that?
I've been trying to get my hands on those graphic novels for a while now. They go for a lot of money.
Really? Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I was born to lead, not to read, so I don't read. Yeah, I forgot Simpsons quote. Simpsons quote out there.
Well, Born to Be Rad says the Lost Boys sequel comics are so sick. Great story.
Hell yeah.
See, I'd heard about them, but I hadn't like seeked them out or anything like that.
He has them.
Really?
I'm super jealous of him.
Damn. Protagonist, I gotta go Michael in Lost Boys. He's literally having a mini superhero origin story, and it's perfect. It's, like I said, I'm not really a Michael character very much, but yeah, more people are saying Michael in the chat as well.
Have you seen the Lost Boys sequels,
right.
like the sequel and the second and the third movie? Because I got those on.
I saw
Blu-ray
one of
for
them,
my
but I
birthday
don't know
one
which one
year.
it was.
I've seen them. I mean, they're nothing to write home about. They seemed really rushed. I don't know. They're not great. They're entertaining. But the Lost Boys deserved better.
Okay. I've seen one of
In
them,
my
but I don't
opinion.
remember. I don't know if it was the second or the third. I can't.
I
remember.
plan on watching them just because someone got them for me on my birthday, and I still have yet to watch them, and I need to because it was a birthday gift.
I'd
so I
recommend
need
it.
to.
I'd
Okay.
recommend watching them, but make sure you watch through the credits on one of them because there's an after credit scene. But
Gotcha.
yeah, it's worth a watch one time.
Just one time.
Rock Music Forever 90 says Interview with the Vampires. I love that movie. That is that's a great one too.
That's such a good movie, but it's not in the same vein as these three.
No.
movies are.
Like this is like the vampire trifecta. I think if you ask any horror fan, your favorite
The Mount
vampire
Rushmore.
movie, it's gonna be one of these three. Yeah, for sure.
Then what would be the fourth one?
Ooh, Queen of the Damned.
Damn, that's a good one.
God, I don't know.
That was a
Wait
bit
a
of a
minute,
cult
I'm dumb. Dracula.
Well, which one?
Which
Bram
one? The
Stoker?
Bram Stoker?
You gotta
Stoker?
go the 30s one, like because it's the one that started it all. So you have to give recognition for that.
Sure. Yeah, I get
So
that.
32.
All right.
Mm,
Okay, so what I'm
30
gonna
Days
do?
of Night, I would say.
30 Days
Damn
of
it,
Night.
that's a good. That's
Yeah,
high
that's a
on my
good one,
watch list.
too. Yeah. Vampire's Kiss deserves to be up there. That's one of the greatest vampire movies of all time. Nicolas Cage is awesome. So yeah, what I'm going to do is read the results of what the chat voted in the poll, and then I'll read the results of who actually won the SmackDown. So we got about 20 votes here, so 20% says Near Dark, which is lower than I expected going in.
Yeah. I
25
wonder if that's because some people haven't seen it.
That could be because that is a little bit harder to find,
Well,
so-
it's near the dark, so I don't blame the movie.
Oh my
so.
god. Okay, good thing we're almost done here.
I know. My jokes are getting bad.
25% say Fright Night. Again, with the way it's kind of gone tonight, I'm not that surprised at that one, honestly. Coming into it, I would be, but no, not anymore. But yes, at 55%, the fans, the viewers, voted The Lost Boys as their favorite one. So there we go. Now, let's add up the totals here.
Oh my god.
All right.
I'm almost worried about
So this is a total between all three of us, one point apiece for each one, for each category. So, and last place in the third spot, no surprise here, with 5 points, it's Fright Night. good job. You got 5 points. You get a participation trophy today.
Participation trophy.
And
But
you
it-
lost the, and you and it lost the fan tonight. So,
but Near Dark wasn't too far behind because that only got 6 points total between the three of us. So it's a landslide out of a total of 10 points tonight. The Lost Boys wins the first cinematic SmackDown.
I'm actually surprised. I thought the Lost Boys and Near Dark were going to be closer.
See, I
I
thought
thought
so
Near
too.
Dark would be closer.
I
Yeah.
thought so too. But again, as you brought up a great point, maybe just a lot of people just haven't seen that one, you know, because I feel like that would be in the conversation too. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Again, it's harder than I thought it was going to be going in. You start breaking them down.
You find yourself wanting to vote for your favorite movie, but in some of these things you can't. Like special effects, like there was a clear winner here. And
music was the same thing.
Music was the same way. Yeah, exactly. So this is interesting to do this and make yourself vote against your own favorite movie.
I know. Look, at the end of the day, I still love Fright Night. It's
Come on, Bert.
He's no longer available.
So yeah, like I still, at the end of the day, after all this, I still love all three of these movies. You know, all the things I loved about Fright Night going in, I still love now. Same thing with Lost Boys and Near Dark. But yeah, when you really break them down, there's certain things that stand out to you and kind of make you rethink some things. You're like, you know what? Maybe that's not as good as I think it is. No, that was a really tough one to start this thing off with. But did you guys have any final thoughts that you wanted to say about any of these movies?
Well, just to defend my Fright Night fandom real quick. I know I gave this movie such a rough time, but I still do love this movie because to me, out of all of them, it's the more traditional vampire movie with the traditional vampire rules, and it follows everything to almost a Notebook T. While the Lost Boys kind of like modernized it a little bit, kind of like added some rules, and they did a great job explaining those rules, like with the Frog Brothers and all of that, explaining the rules to it, so it's easy to follow. Near Dark, I give it a lot of ambition for it to be completely different, like a blood transfusion to no longer become a vampire, even though like. To me, that's a little bit of lazy writing. But other than that, I do love all three of these vampire movies, and I wish Near Dark would be more easier to buy.
Me too.
I don't understand what's going on there. I saw Fright Night on VHS today at my VHS market event I went to, and I almost bought it. And
You
then
didn't
Shut up.
buy it?
Right? What's
No.
wrong with you, man?
I
Come
know.
on.
Well, I bet my defenders say like, "Oh crap, I do have Fright Night. I'm going to charge this much." I'm like, "No, can't do it."
Oh no.
But it's okay, though. If of course Lost Boys is now the king of my vampire movies, thanks to this individual down here.
I knew I would get you eventually.
You got me. Well, actually, it was the saxophone that got me. It hypnotized me.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Maga says, "You're so cool, Brewster."
Right?
His Carter says, "Bummer, but I'm not really that surprised. If Near Dark wasn't an option, I'd go Lost Boys all the way." Yeah, I mean, like I said, any of these ones you can't really go wrong. No matter which one you picked, I would have been like, "Yeah, I get it."
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about what you guys got coming up on your own channels, on other channels that you guys are appearing on, and then I'll kind of like wrap this episode up, and we'll get on out of here. Brett, you first. What do you and Brad got coming up over there?
Okay, tomorrow we're going to be having a Friday the 13th Tearing It Up episode where we're using the tier list, like the tier maker website, and we're going to do the popular characters of the Friday the 13th franchise. So we'll be talking about them using our custom tiers to rearrange them. Who's the best? Who's the worst? And then that is actually, I've misinformed everybody. I've been saying 8:30. That's actually a 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time show for tomorrow. And then we're going to try to release a video here soon. I've slashed it out between Evil Dead 2013 versus the new Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, that is going to be extremely tough. So I'm not looking forward to that particular matchup. But I hope everybody else is looking forward to it. So we'll drop that video soon, hopefully, once we get that recorded. And then our big watch party this coming Thursday at 7 either 7:30 or 8. I will let y'all know when that is because that is our big Friday the 13th watch party event. Part 6, Jason Lives, one of Brad's favorite Friday the 13th movie, and he's bringing on 2 of his good buddies, Chad Sumner and Josh from Camp Blood Media, because they left the movie as well, and they got the impossible task to give me a reason why I should really enjoy this movie.
All right. Mel, My Killer Podcast, what do you got coming up? Where are you going to be appearing on lately? What's going on?
Next week, I don't have that much going on, actually. You can find me on my channel on YouTube and on Instagram. I drop a video once a week, but other than that, I am part of a YouTube faction called the Rad Pack. If you guys want to jog on over to that YouTube channel and follow it, we do have some live streams coming up and some interesting videos dropping, and we just started an audio podcast, so that's kind of a new venture for us.
Yes.
To see what happens there, and you can find us on all the major podcasting platforms. But other than that, that's it. That's all I got going on.
All right. So, yeah, no problem. I'll read a couple of these comments real quick, and then I'll tell you guys what I got going on. Tony at Flatbuster says, it's because Hollywood did my girl Catherine Bigelow dirty. Yeah, they did. None of her movies are easy to buy. Strange Days, Near Dark, and Blue Steel barely have home video releases. I've noticed. I've tried to hunt for Near Dark for years, and it's just it's a dead end and another dead end, and yeah, it's.
Oh, and real quickly, I know you mentioned earlier, I've totally forgot about it. I gotta give credit to Star real quick because she's one of my top 5 girl crushes in horror of all time. Absolutely love her.
There we
Absolutely.
go. Maybe I'll add that category for the next one, love interest. I'll add a love interest category. I think that'd be a good one. I knew it was kind of. I knew I was forgetting something.
You know what? I might
just build on it as you go.
Yeah,
I might go Fright Night with that one, just because of how bad I felt for her in that movie.
Okay, I get that. I'll tell you what, it ain't Near Dark for me in that department either. Yeah, get me on one of these. Fright Night and needed someone to defend Jerry's honor. No, look, if you want to, look, I'm not even joking. I have a list about 20 different matchups that I want to do. So yeah, like I'll send you the list and you pick one out, and then we'll bring you on for one. I'm not even kidding. Speaking of, the next one that we were going to do probably at the end of May, you guys will vote on whatever the next episode will be, but we already took the vote for episode 2 just so I can kind of plan ahead a little bit on this one. The next one is going to be the 2005 House of Wax with 13 Ghosts with House on Haunted Hill. So the theme of that one is Dark Castle Entertainment, which House of Wax is my top 5 favorite movies of all time. So we'll see if it stays that way when we get there.
Yeah, don't have a Fright Night effect.
Yeah.
It's in my top 5 favorite horror movies. So I'm pulling for that one, but you never know what could happen in these things. But that'll be the next one. And then from there, you guys will vote on whatever the next episode will be. And Mel, anytime you want to come back on, whether for this thing or anything else, just you let me know. We'll let Brett know. We'll set something up. Brett, you know you're always welcome here, man. So
just like Hermione in Harry Potter 4, I'm not an owl.
I'm not an owl.
I've been feeling like an owl, but no, that's great. But yeah, we appreciate Mel for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Absolutely. Like I had a great time. I think this is gonna be fun to do all the other ones.
Yeah,
so.
I can't wait to see all the other ones that you do. I'm gonna be in the chat voting.
Absolutely.
Trying to change people's favorite movies.
Oh yeah, as far as what do I got coming up, I should probably get on that. Brett, Monday, me and you got Braden's Spider-Man podcast talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 before we go see the third one. I got a surprise video dropping in the middle of the week. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm editing it right now. That'll be dropping probably Thursday is what I'm looking at. And then I got another digital video collection coming out this week. And then Friday Night Rentals, the movie that got picked last night was Deep Blue Sea. I'm going to try to schedule that out. I don't know when that'll be just yet. So, yeah, that'll be coming up sometime soon. And then Friday, May 19th, the first episode of another new show on this network, our Horrorwood podcast, where It's just a horror podcast. We're just going to talk horror movies all the time. The first episode of that will be on Willy's Wonderland. There's a specific reason why I chose that particular movie for our first episode. And I can't wait to do that one because I love that movie.
I love that movie too.
Me
It's
too.
so good.
Yeah, so that'll be May 19th. We'll kick that off. And like I said, at the end of the month, we'll do another SmackDown with House of Wax, 13 Ghosts, and House of Haunted Hill. And that's it. That's all I got to say. So thank you both for coming on here and doing this one with me.
Thank you.
You guys are always welcome back for another one and all that stuff like that. And yeah, again, Mel, thank you especially for, I know your schedule is really super busy. So just thank you for taking that time and coming on here.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we got you out of here quick.
I appreciate you, and this is so much fun. I would do this again in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. So that's it, guys. We will see you guys next time.